Support for Iowa Catholic Radio and Making It Personal is provided by Sarah Vocations Ministry. Learn more at joinserra.org.
Making It Personal with Bishop William Joensen on Iowa Catholic Radio and iowacatholicradio.com.
Welcome to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen. I'm Jean Till, and on today's show, we're visiting with Alexis and Elik Mattis, and they are members of St. Boniface, Alpha Advocates. We're going to find out all about them.
All about that. They're kind of evangelical spirit. Gen Z is helping the church to be revitalized and revived, so it'll be great to have that conversation with them. Our acquaintance in London, so on this day of Feast of St. Benedict, one of the patrons of Europe today, so the people there, it's a solemnity in Europe this day, but we also want to recognize, and of course, the Benedictines have a great presence in kind of the triangle of Schuyler and Atchison, Kansas, and Conception, right. So very much providing spiritual oases for our people and the graces that are there, whether on retreat or just continuing to form our young people. So a beautiful day today. I am privileged to be able to celebrate a quinceañera Mass this morning at Sacred Heart in West Des Moines. 7 young women, this kind of rite of passage, but also not formally a sacrament, but we will be celebrating the Eucharist. But it's a time as they come into their own as young women, just as Mary was so young when God enlisted her in his great plan of salvation in the Annunciation. God is inviting these young women to go deeper in their relationship and friendship and their capacity to witness. So there's certainly cultural dimensions of this and the celebrations and festivity, but at the heart of it is the faith and the following of Jesus. So looking forward to do that. And it's a great act of generosity that they would come together and do this. You know, sometimes they want my ceremony, but I think, we're part of something greater in the church and the body of Christ. So a beautiful opportunity to be together. I'm still grateful for the local ride that we had for Biking for Babies a couple Saturdays ago. Thankfully, it was before the heat wave hit, and so rolling 48 miles was not too taxing, and happy to do that. But now, those who are really serious about it, the Biking for Babies National Ride and the Northern Route, once again, great friendship and relationship with the people of St. Francis of Assisi Parish on next Wednesday, the 15th. You're all invited, all our listeners, and especially those in Central Iowa, as the National Ride will be arriving at St. Francis. We're going to celebrate Mass at 5 p.m., and then there's a free will offering for a dinner that the Knights of Columbus are going to be serving there. Nice. Come one, come all. Last year we had over 200 people present, and the riders, or missionaries as we call them, are going to give witness talks to what Biking for Babies is about, the way in which they touch not only serving pregnancy resource centers, but themselves have been transformed in their own living out of their own faith. And so a beautiful opportunity too coming up. Grateful to Dan Buescher and his family hosting us then the following day on the 16th, kind of a Catholic Charities BBQ in their backyard. They've had a band in the past, so I think they made peace with the neighbors on all of this. You can hear the music emanating, barbecue with the bishop. So yeah, I guess just get to chill and hang out. No major speeches or anything else. Just a lot of fun in the summer, but raising it to advance the mission of Catholic Charities.
And Dan's on the board for Catholic
Dan
Charities.
is on the board. His marketing prowess is a great asset to us, and so we look forward to having that opportunity together. And then also anticipating the 200th anniversary of the Archdiocese of St. Louis. This is kind of we don't call the Archbishop of St. Louis the primate of the Missouri, Iowa, Nebraska region, but he is kind of first among equals as the founding diocese in this whole region. So 200 years, and so bishops of the country are invited to come together in the old cathedral for Vespers on Friday night, the 17th, and then a celebratory Mass on Saturday in the new cathedral going way back, that massive, beautifully restored structure, so that might be present. We'll give a little shout out also to Brian Werner of St. Luke's Parish in Ankeny, 40 years old today, celebrating. So it's a semi-surprise party. So I'm not.
Oopsie.
He may not hear this, but a wonderful musician and great man of faith, son of Dan and Carol Werner, known to many in the Diocese of Des Moines.
Knights, Sarah Club, all things Catholic.
So wonderful 20 years now for Brian Werner and all that he's doing. The celebration of the feast. Also, Kateri Tekakwitha on the 14th, so the Lily of the Mohawks. So a lot for this country to be partying about, and hopefully not with getting hungover.
Let's hope not. We're going to take a quick break, grab a drink of coffee this morning. When we return, we'll continue our conversation with Alexis and Elik Mattis, the members of St. Boniface, went to London with Bishop for Alpha Retreat. So we're going to find out all about that and more. You're listening to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen on the Iowa Catholic Radio Network and the Spirit Catholic Radio Network. Welcome back to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen. On today's show, we're visiting with Alexis and Elik Mattis, members of St. Boniface Alpha Advocates. So we look forward to this conversation.
Yes, and we are not great friends, but we made our acquaintance together at the Alpha Leadership Conference in London. And so we had to go across the pond to actually meet each other in the Diocese of Des Moines, even though we're neighbors here in the diocese. So, and Elik, E-L-I-K, just making sure we have that right spelling of your name also. So thank you for being on the show today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us. We're super excited for this opportunity.
Yeah, and ultimately we're going to talk about Alpha and evangelization and how your hearts are on fire and part of the parish at St. Boniface in Waukee. But we're going to get to know you and making it personal. So as I came to walk with you around London and things and sharing your story, I just was really impressed with both of you. We had a chance to break bread together at lunch also as we were moving from the one session to another. You are both native Iowans, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So where did you grow up?
I'm from the Quad Cities, so Bettendorf, Iowa.
And then I grew up in Johnston, so right here in Des Moines.
No, you're right there on home turf.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah. And Alexis, you found yourself in central Iowa, and that's actually where you both met.
Yeah, so when I graduated high school, I went out to Iowa State and studied software engineering. And then as I graduated, I was getting ready to move to North Carolina, and that's what I did. So actually, we didn't even fully meet until I was moved out of the state. But because
Awkward.
So let me get this right. You drove past to that school to the east of Des Moines to go to the school north of Des Moines, right? I mean,
yes, of course.
Was that heretical for your family? Or?
No. My grandparents are huge Iowa State alumni. My dad did go to Iowa, but
He didn't disown you. Then.
Yeah.
No. Okay. That's wonderful. So you're in Carolina, and that's where you first made acquaintance?
yeah. So I like to come back to Iowa a lot because all of my friends were here. They were still in college, and that's when Elik met all the same friends I had. So upon our many visits back, I started to meet him, and then we actually went on a spring break trip to the Smoky Mountains in Tennessee and spent a week together with all of our friends and getting to know each other.
So your girlfriends are like, hey, there's this guy. You guys would be a great match, you know?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, we kind of did.
Yep, that's how that works.
And Elik, I mean, what were you doing in central Iowa?
Yeah, so I grew up in Johnston, and when I graduated high school, I immediately joined the Air National Guard, actually my junior year of high school. So I just kind of moved around a little bit, and then I eventually started living in Ames to do a semester at DMAC, so ended up meeting all of her friends after she had moved away there in Ames. And then
So when you joined the Guard, were you 18 already, or is there a provision that you can join even as a minor?
Yeah, so I was actually 17, and my dad had to sign a little waiver saying I could join, and I was able to start drilling with them, but I couldn't go to any of my basic training or any of my follow-on trainings there until after I graduated.
Yeah, well, thank you for your service, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Thank you.
But what was the attraction to the military?
Yeah, I don't know. I just always grew up wanting to be in the military, and actually I was really close to joining the Army National Guard, and then my dad's friend that lived down the street from us, he was kind of sold me a little bit on the Air National Guard because he did it for 20 some odd years, and I kind of fell in love with it and the jobs that were available, so I was able to go and do a really fun job. It kind of sold me that I could get a call sign when I signed up and everything. So it took a couple of years to get the call sign, but I was able to earn one out of there, and that's honestly what got me into the job I was in now.
And that job is?
So command and control battle management operations. So kind of similar to air traffic control, but all of the aircraft come off of air traffic control into my frequency to complete their missions.
Okay. And I think as we were talking in London, obviously the U.S.-Iran war was already well underway, and all Americans are weary of war. We'd love to see this concluded, but your involvement does have impact in terms of Iran and what the American forces are about. I don't want you to have to disclose any secrets here. I'm sure there's a lot of confidential information, but is that right?
Yeah, there's definitely people in my job that are involved with that, controlling all the airspaces over Iran and such. At my job here in Des Moines, I'm primarily helping people train to become better. So not necessarily students, but just keeping up with their continuation training, practicing like deployed environment missions or big, large force exercises and such.
So you have to be able to keep a lot of things in view at one time, right?
Very much so.
Multiple important lifetime things that are there. But it speaks to your capacity as a professional that they entrust you with those who are needing to be further formed and ongoing development there as well. So Great Smoky Mountains, road trip, spring break, and then what happens from there?
Yeah, so after that was kind of the first time we really got to know each other. And then Elik ended up asking me out on a date, but kind of tricky when one of you lives in North Carolina and the other lives in Iowa. So we actually ended up finding the middle point in the country, which happens to be Bloomington, Indiana. And that's where we both drove 9 hours to have our first date.
Another college town, all right.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm sure Elik could have pinpointed the logistics on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, too bad he wasn't a pilot. He could have just picked us up instead of having to drive.
9 hours for both of you. Yikes.
Yeah.
So eventually there was a proposal. And where were you both in your faith journey at that? Were you both Catholic, or where were things there?
No, so I wasn't Catholic, but I had started going to church with Alexis, and I didn't grow up in any sort of faith at all. So I was kind of more interested as, we started talking about marriage and such. And so I kind of decided I wanted to become Catholic right around the time that I was going to propose to her. So I think right after our proposal, we ended up talking to Father Chenna at St. Boniface. And then that same night, there was a Alpha program that then he led us there to go to the Alpha class there on week 3. And that's where I really fell in love with the faith and kind of fell into just this awesomeness of Alpha and being a part of that.
See, already the way you're speaking about it, writing. But so Alexis wasn't strong-arming you, like, hey, if you want me,
no, not at all.
She's part of the package.
Not at all. She gave me all the outs possible, and so did Father Chenna. It's almost like they didn't want me to become a Catholic, but I ended up getting there.
They wanted to be a free choice.
Yep.
On your part, right?
Yeah.
So so. You're in an Alpha, like, what's going on there? And you're lifelong Catholic, Alexis?
Yeah. So I was cradle Catholic, as they say. Mm-hmm. I went to Catholic school up until 6th grade, and then transferred to our local public school. But then still got confirmed, went to all of the religious ed classes and that sort of thing. But I definitely fell off in my faith journey around that point. And then going off to college, a few of my friends were Catholic, and so we'd attempt to go to Mass, and I distinctly remember one Ash Wednesday, we're going to Mass tonight, and we were running late, and then apparently everybody else on campus was also going to go to Mass that night. So by the time we found a parking spot, we were already 20 minutes late, and so we couldn't walk in, so unfortunately, but I think really
I'm sure Father Kyle would not have called you out at St. Thomas Aquinas. So.
Yeah,
he would have teased you afterwards. But,
So I think really coming back and becoming an adult, I've always wanted to raise my family in Catholic. I wanted to get married in the Catholic Church, and I was like, well, I really need to get back and getting involved to do that and to be able to stay strong in those convictions as well. So when I moved back to Iowa, we started going to Mass here, and then I'd get Elik to come as well. So that was really great for our relationship.
Did you shop around a little bit, try out different parishes? Or?
Yeah, so we started out, we live in West Urbandale, closer to Grimes. So apparently every church is 15 minutes away from there, basically. So we went to Assumption for a little while. And then,
Granger.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then we tried a few other parishes around town. But then when we went to St. Boniface, we were specifically shopping. We're we need to find a church that we can build a community so we can get married in the church and not have some random priest marry us.
Not just, what has the best aisle?
Yeah.
So.
Do the colors go with my bridesmaids' dresses?
Exactly.
Well, it was ordinary time when we got married, and our dresses were green. So I was like,
Way to
wow.
go. Way to go. The instinct of faith.
But yeah, so when we went into St. Boniface, I think the environment really like made Elik feel more welcome there. Not that any of the other churches weren't, but there's a lot of young families there. Their music is really good. And it was just a little bit more lively than I think he was used to. And honestly, I wasn't a very good sponsor to his Catholic journey because I didn't tell him any of the rules of, oh, you kneel here, you need to cross your arms when you go up to, it was kind of like, oh yeah, after the fact you should do that. So I kind of just threw him to the wolves and Catholic
It
masses.
still worked.
It worked.
Yeah.
There's a lot of me just looking around trying to figure out what to do.
So Alpha, and for listeners in our Spirit Catholic Radio, Iowa Catholic Radio audience, what is Alpha? Can you give us a sense of what it is? Or is it a mystery that if you disclose it, then, bad consequences follow?
So Alpha is kind of like what I'd consider a beginner's course. If you're interested in any type of Christianity, you can go to an Alpha course and just learn kind of the basics of being a Christian and such. And it's not necessarily just like a lead into the Catholic faith. It's for everybody. And then I've also noticed a lot of people that have, been Catholic their entire lives and they're in their 50s and 60s. They also get a lot out of it of having, I think it adds on to their relationship with the Lord and becoming closer and praying with the Lord rather than to the Lord. I've heard a lot of people say, and then also becoming closer with the Holy Spirit on, using the Holy Spirit in your prayers, whether it's praying for other people or praying for yourself. So I think it's been very strong in that aspect. And
I found that it gives you confidence. Bishop, you'll laugh at me.
St. Teresa's experience with
Right.
Alpha. Yeah.
That it gives you confidence to talk about your faith that you didn't necessarily have before because it's these small group conversations. So here's the question, and for folks that don't talk as much as I do, that was really good for them. So yeah, to be able to talk about your faith is important.
Who is Jesus? Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Why did the Father send him? Or things like that?
Yeah, it's all of the very kind of like baseline questions that most people have. And like I said, kind of figuring out the Holy Spirit. I think we have the Alpha Day Away, and that's all about the Holy Spirit and what the Holy Spirit can help you do and such.
Yeah, as a lifelong Catholic, I feel like I never even yet learned to, what he said, pray to the Holy Spirit. And I think it's really powerful that's a big component of it. It's really oriented around that. Like, I think the last sessions are the Alpha Day Away. You have people pray over you, which another thing as Catholics is not always a thing, kind of scary. Mm-hmm. And so it really opens up. And now I see a lot of people even at Mass on Sunday, like being prayed over just in the gathering space and things like that. So it's really cool. I think it's transformed. We haven't been at St. Boniface that long, but I even think it's transformed kind of the way the parishioners think about praying and in that aspect as well.
A day away, Alpha Day Away, is that a retreat? Do you go off campus or is it right on site?
Yeah, so every church and kind of does it different. At St. Boniface, we do, it's 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Just at St. Boniface. But some people do a whole weekend. We've talked about at St. Boniface kind of going off-site and doing something. But it's really a day away from everything in life. So like if you're constantly wrangling your children or you have a lot of stress going on, it's definitely a day to step away and really focus on the Holy Spirit and being together in community and just learning more about your faith.
So you can't go to Costco on your day away.
We have a 10-minute break. I'm sure I can get there.
So the Holy Spirit became a real person to you in all of this, the Holy Trinity, but to pray, you were confirmed at some point, mm-hmm. but to really have a relationship then with a person.
Yeah.
It really opened that up for you.
Yeah, I think that's a big change in my prayer life specifically. And I was thinking after we came back from the conference in London, we had lunch with Father Chinna, and he was talking about how a lot of people, when you ask them, how has Jesus impacted your life? they just go like, oh, well, the church, they don't specifically think of Jesus as a person. They think of their church and their community and those sorts of things. And even for myself, it's been hard doing a saint study right now with a group of women from the St. Boniface. And they asked, like, where are you on your journey with Jesus? And then the first thing I said was like, well, I joined I do all these things for the church. And then I was like, oh, shoot, that's not what I'm supposed to say for my journey with Jesus. So it's still been hard for me to really make it personal in that. But I think Alpha and all of the other programming and truly the community has helped me.
So you've served it up to us, making it personal. I think we need to hear more about this as we make the turn.
When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Alexis and Elik Mattis, members of St. Boniface and Alpha Advocates. You're listening to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen on the Iowa Catholic Radio Network and the Spirit Catholic Radio Network. Welcome back to Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen.
Elik and Alexis, thank you for remaining with us. We got to talk about this leadership conference in London. Father Chinna thought you were to be the ambassadors going from the parish. And did you know what you were getting into? And what were some of your impressions of what you experienced?
Yeah, I don't think we had any clue what we were getting into. Originally, we were just wrapping up an Alpha session, and we were like, the London conference is coming up. We should go. You should send somebody. And so we ended up getting the amazing opportunity to go. And it was amazing. I think as Catholics, there's a lot of, not infighting, but sometimes you look at other denominations and you have different beliefs and those types of things. So it's really cool that everybody's coming together, because Alpha is really a program for all denominations of Christianity. So
kind of with Anglican roots, right?
Mm-hmm.
With Nikki and Pippa Gumbel and things. But yeah, they very much wanted the Catholics to be very present.
Yeah, with the U.S. delegation, we had to be briefed beforehand and say hey, their worship is going to be a lot of singing and swaying and dancing and hands in the air. It might not be what you're used to at Catholic Mass, but it was really amazing to see everybody coming together and just being so open and gracious around everything.
Yeah. And we had really good representation there with Rick and Jason, who are big in the Alpha leadership team. And they really, I think, led us down a good journey and good conversations every day, whether it was at breakfast or at our dinners and such. So. And
Rick had been to St. Boniface, right? I mean,
yeah.
He knew the parish. Right?
Yeah, so he actually helped. We unfortunately missed out on this opportunity, but he helped with a Alpha Day away. I think it was the first time that we were host in Alpha at St. Boniface. And him and Father Chinna, I think, have grown to like each other quite a bit and talk and kind of bounce ideas off each other there. And it just really great opportunity to be hanging out with him and have those conversations.
It's safe to say there's a kind of charismatic flavor to the worship and praise and even the ministry, praying over each other and some of the phenomenon that are biblical. Some people start speaking in tongues, others don't. Now, is that any of the experience you had at Alpha St. Boniface, or was this a new dimension of this?
I don't think we've had that experience, and we have only had one Alpha Day away due to our busy schedules that we tend to have. Right. But I have heard stories, we had a host in our last group where when she went through the Alpha course, somebody was praying over her and just started speaking in tongues, and that was her first time ever experiencing that, and she was very whoa, what is going on? This is great. And it's definitely not impossible for that to happen, especially with the praying over each other quite often towards the end of Alpha.
And it's not normative. It's not this is the goal, and if you're authentically in the Spirit, this is what's going to happen. But hey, the Spirit works as it wills and blows as it wills. So yeah, but inspiring talks. Anything that registers still with you, Alexis, as a lasting memory from the experience?
I think the biggest thing is just talking about religion in society today and how it's great to see a lot of youth, I think, are coming back to the church and wanting to be baptized. Alex is hosting a small group with Alpha Youth at St. Boniface right now and has a young man who came on his own volition, not because his parents made him. So it's really cool to see that in person. And they talked a lot about that at the leadership conference. And I think that was really impactful, just to say, keep doing it, sharing your faith. Even if you're just doing small things or just talking about it, it really can make a big difference in other people's lives.
So you as Gen Z are Exhibit 1 in terms of this resurgence that we're seeing, not just across the pond, but right here in our own American church and things. So in the conversations that the two of you have, deepening your marital bond, deepening in this mystery of God's great love for you as well. Alexis, you're with an insurance firm, and you may not be giving bold witness talks there, but you're not shy either, but acknowledging you're a Catholic and Alpha's part of your life.
Yeah, definitely. I always like to say I'm going to Alpha after work and see if anybody else is interested.
The invitation keeps there.
Yeah.
Proposing, not imposing. Thank you both for this time and the wonderful witness and the hope you give me and so many others. And I look forward to praying with you and letting the Spirit direct both of us, all of us in our lives. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
This has been another edition of Making It Personal with Bishop Joensen. Thanks to our guests and to all of our listeners in Iowa, Nebraska, Missouri, wherever you may be, listening to the Iowa Catholic Radio Network and the Spirit Catholic Radio Network.
You can hear Making It Personal with Bishop William Joensen every week on Iowa Catholic Radio and iowacatholicradio.com.
Support for Iowa Catholic Radio and Making It Personal is provided by Sarah Vocations Ministry. Learn more at joinserra.org.